Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. For today's preview, as France, the number 2 in the world, take on South Africa, now number 4 in the world. However, both teams could be going up to number 1 if the right results go in their favor. And if South Africa were to beat France, they would go up to 2 in the world rankings. So a very big clash for the Springboks. Should be a very interesting clash. You know, we're talking about the Rugby World Cup 2023 hosts up against the current reigning champions. And a very big opportunity for the Boks to experience what it's like playing in France, at Stade de France, where if they, for example, were to go all the way to semi-finals or finals next year, this is where they'd be playing. So it's a really cool asset test from that perspective, and I think it's once again, it's another very different team that will test the Boks in very different ways. And Jacques Nienaber has spoken about the fact that they're very excited to see where the plans they want to put in place to counter this French game plan are going to work. So it's a very big, important game for South Africa as well as France, who are undefeated in 11 test matches and not against pretty poor oppositions either. Their mid-year tour wasn't, and it was against Japan, but you know, the Grand Slam Six Nations champions, they then managed to come back and beat Australia last weekend. They're going to beat South Africa this weekend. I think they said they become even more sort of favorites for the World Cup next year. Before we look at the two teams, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Check out the description on how you can watch the match, for example, but using Amazon Prime thanks to ExpressVPN. You can also win free bets courtesy of BetCoza, so go and check that out as well. And in the description as well, we're going to be giving free bets out the entire weekend. So go get yourself a BetCoza account and get involved there. We'll start with the home side, which is obviously France. And it's the front row which is going to really test the Boks. You know, Silbai, Julien Marchand, Uni Antonio, very quality front three. You know, Julien Marchand up with Malcolm Marx is one of the best hookers in the world. Silbai versus France Maher is going to be an absolutely brilliant clash. I think the one thing that the French pack is going to be is a bit lightweight. You know, I think they really are going to miss Paul Willemse. Cameron Walkie still a fantastic player, and Tabal Ferment also no sort of slouch, but not quite the sort of the physical presence that Paul Willemse does bring. Although the Boks, for example, are also going to be a little bit more lightweight after some late injury news, and we'll talk about that when we look at the Boks squad. It's a world-class loose trio: Anthony Gelange, Charles Olivan, and Gregory Aldred. They complement each other so nicely. Aldred, for me, up there with Artie Severe, one of the best number 8s in the world at the moment. Anthony Gelange, Charles Olivan, also top quality players. I think that's been sort of the biggest change in the sort of French renaissance is this pack, which can really, they believe that they can front up, they believe that they can take on the Boks pound for pound. The Boks, Peter Steph basically said he reckons they're probably the best pack in the world. So it's going to be very interesting from that perspective. And if that pack gives this backline front foot ball, you know, Antoine Dupont remain Intermac, if they start pulling the strings, the Boks are in for a very long game. So Antoine Dupont, obviously a captain in the side for number 9, you know, World Player of the Year. You shut him down though, you go a long way towards shutting down this French side. You've got to try and get him off his game, because if he's on his game, he'll punish you. And if we look at the rest of the back line, Euron Moefana, Damien Pinot on the two wings. Pinot scored a brilliant try last weekend. A fantastic individual effort. Very good finisher. Thomas Ramos at full back will probably be doing most of the goal kicking. He kicked very well against Australia last week. You don't want to give away penalties. He's got a 50-meter kick on him as well. So a very, very useful player there. In the centre, Jonathan Dante, Gael Fiku, massive Fiku fan. I think this is going to be a very nice test for Damien Delendi and Jesse Creel. Jesse Creel was defensively very much up for it last weekend. Will have to be up for it again this weekend. If we look at the bench, Peter Mavaka, Reda Wadi, and Sipile Pelletier will have to take on a pretty impressive replacement front row for the Springboks in Vincent Koch, Malcolm Marx, and Steven Kitsoff. So very interesting to see how the benches really do go up against each other. You then got Romain Tuafafanawa, Bastien Chalaria, Sekou Machalou, Maxime Lutsu, and Mathieu Jalabert as the rest of the French bench. It's a good French bench. You know, Jalabert could very easily be started for France. You know, I think they're so blessed to have both him, Intermac, Thomas Ramos. There's still a couple of players who will also come back for this French side. And if we look at the Springbok side, not too many changes, but at the same time, quite a lot of significant changes. You know, the back line, for example, has been slightly tweaked with Billy Leroux coming in at full back. You then Cody Arons coming into where Mapimpi is. And Chisholm Colby starting back into 14. Faf de Klerk returning in the scrum half position. But if you look at the pack, for example, Oxenchair, Bongi Mnambi do get starts. Also, it looks like Jasper Wiese has failed his concussion protocols. As a result, it is likely that Kwaka Smith will start in the number 8 jersey. So again, lost a bit of weight from a pack physicality point of view. But Kwaka Smith, who's been playing, probably been one of our most consistent players this year. You know, has been fantastic off the bench. Will get an opportunity to potentially start, we assume. Given the fact that Dion Free was pictured in the team photo. So the pack is Oxenchair, Bongi Mnambi, France Maherbe, Eben Etzebeth has Franco Moss for company, after the injury to Luat Diago ruled him out for the rest of the tour. Peter Steph the Toy, who was much better last weekend, is with Sia Khaleesi and Kwagga Smith. Faf de Klerk will partner Damien Willemse, although Willemse will not be given the kicking duties that will fall to Chesn Colby's back in the 14 jersey. Kurt Lawrence in the sort of the new 11 jersey, somewhere he's not particularly accustomed to getting an opportunity there. Damien Day and Jessica will continue their partnership. Billy LaRue back in at 15. Off the bench, though, it's a very strong bench of Malcolm Mark, Stephen Kitsop, Vincent Koch, Marvin Ori, and Dion Fourie. Kubas Reinach comes in. No Jaden Henschel this weekend. Monty Liebach will get his debut if he comes on. Marcus Zuma Pimpy in the 23 jersey for what I believe is his first ever bench appearance, actually. It's two very good sides, two very interesting sides, very contrasting styles of rugby, very different ways of going about things. You do expect the French to kick a lot more than South Africa, but very different type of kicking game to what the sort of South Africans bring. South Africans far more sort of like to kick contestables, try and win possession back. France will play a very territory-based game. You know, they'll kick deep, they'll try and force you to make mistakes, they'll wait for it to open up, and then they'll hit you. So you've got to be very disciplined against France. You've got to be very tight defensively. So that's going to be a fantastic test for the Boks. Let me know what your score predictions are down in the comments below. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven. I'll chat to you soon.